Could there be more college football realignment on the horizon? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Kangaroo Black, coming back once again to talk about the possibility of more college football realignment. We just seen college football realignment a year and a half ago, when most of the Pac-12 teams left and joined other conferences, the Big Ten, the ACC, and the Big 12. You just seen Oklahoma and Texas leave the Big 12 to come to the SEC. So yes, only a year ago, it was college football realignment, and we just might have more. I found this article on MSN, okay, and it leads me to think, man, 5 to 10 years from now, we may only have two power conferences, the SEC and the Big Ten. So let's get into this article. Matter of fact, the title of the article is Clemson and North Carolina rumors raise possibility of more college football realignment. All right. Could the ACC survive if those teams leave? Okay, especially Clemson. The ACC status as a power conference in college football is already on thin ice. While it is clearly above all Group of Five conferences, it is well below the SEC and Big Ten in terms of caliber of its members. And that is a fact. Because in the Big Ten, you got USC and Oregon now. You got Michigan and Ohio State. The SEC, you got the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Texases, the Oklahomas. Who else? You got Tennessee. Come on, man. Ole Miss. No. Those teams in the ACC wouldn't be able to compete at a high level with the teams that I just named. They certainly won't be able to compete with the teams that I just named on a consistent basis, even though the ACC will still have Clemson and Florida State. They still won't be able to compete on a consistent basis. Clemson is the only team in the ACC that can compete with programs from the SEC and the Big Ten. The only one in the ACC. Anyway, having Clemson is one of the few things keeping the ACC status as a power conference alive. If the Tigers were to depart, it would effectively be a glorified Group of Five league, talking about the ACC, similar to the new Pac-12. Could Clemson's departure create a domino effect in which other schools were to depart as well? If so, would the league be able to survive? I would say no. Okay, and when you're talking about the new Pac-12, they trying to function with two programs now, Oregon State and Washington State. Now they're going to add 6 more programs next season, which is Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, Texas State, and Utah State. But even adding those programs to the Pac-12, they still will not regain their status as a power conference. I looked it up, and it says, it is unlikely the Pac-12 will regain its status as a power conference in the near future, especially in football. While the conference is rebuilding and adding new members, it has lost significant prestige and financial power after the departure of key programs. Although the Pac-12 might be competitive in football and a strong conference in men's basketball, it is not expected to regain its Power 5 designation. Not with these teams I just named. Oregon State, Washington State, Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, Texas State, Utah State. Man, they might well be a Group of Five. And that's fact. So, hey, they definitely won't be able to compete, and they don't have financial backing as the top tier teams in the SEC and the Big Ten. But anyway, goes on to talk about Power 2 gap continues to widen. all of the schools that have won national championships in football since 2002, Clemson is the one of two that is not currently a member of the SEC or the Big Ten. If the Tigers were to join the SEC, that would leave Florida State as the only program with a national title in the past 23 years that is not in one of the two conferences, Big Ten or the SEC. Say it ain't so. But anyway, hey, it is what it is, man. The SEC, Big Ten, best two conferences in all of college football. The best two. And it's only a select few teams in those conferences that make them the best two conferences in all of college football. But anyway, you damn right. The gap is widening. Like I said, the next 5 to 10 years, we only going to have two power conferences. So, hey, it is what it is. Potential on the field impact if Clemson leaves the ACC. Matter of fact, Clemson and North Carolina. We'll just say that. Clemson won 2 national championships under head coach Dabo Swinney in the 2010s, taking down Alabama during the height of Nick Saban's journey in order to do so both times. Over the past few years, however, the Tigers have fallen somewhat back down to earth. While the Tigers are still clearly the class of the ACC, they have struggled against SEC and Big Ten competition in non-conference play. Okay, I think, when was that? Georgia just beat them 30-something to 3 to open up the season. Hey, so that says a lot. Anyway, North Carolina, meanwhile, is coming off an up-and-down stretch under former head coach Mack Brown. This offseason, the Tar Heels made perhaps the strangest hire possible when they gave arguably the greatest NFL head coach of all times in Bill Belichick his first head coaching job at the collegiate level. How Clemson and North Carolina would fare on the field in the SEC is a massive question hovering over the entire saga. Now, I think Clemson, as I already said, will be able to compete with teams from the SEC and the Big Ten. Okay, yeah, and they ain't gonna win it. They ain't gonna win every game, but they will be competitive. I tell you that. Most of the time when Clemson, they get blown out or whatever by the SEC or Big Ten program, it's usually the first game of the season. It's usually. So, hey, we'll see. Because if Clemson is in the playoff, they show up and they show out. Now, I can't say the same about North Carolina. I don't care what time of the season they play a SEC program or Big Ten program. Most likely, they losing. I can't say the same about Clemson. But anyway, who could be next in conference realignment if Clemson and North Carolina leave the ACC? Who will follow behind them? Clemson and North Carolina leaving the ACC will likely not be a standalone move. It would almost certainly trigger other schools to change conferences as well. So who would be the leading candidates? The obvious answer is Florida State and Miami. If Clemson were to join the SEC, those would be the lone programs outside of the Power 2 conferences with a football national championship in the BCS era and the college football playoff era. The only two, Florida State, Miami. Miami won back in 2001. Florida State won in 2013. So then would be the only programs with a national championship outside of the Big Ten and the SEC. Since basically in the past 20 years. Matter of fact, since 2000. Finna be 25 years. So hey, that's crazy. Anyway, in addition, Duke may not be a football powerhouse, but their storied basketball rivalry with North Carolina could lead them to pursue other options should the Tar Heels leave the ACC. That's fact. That's fact. Now, I don't know if both schools will come to the SEC. They may go to the Big Ten if the Big Ten will have them. Both of them may come to the SEC if the SEC will have them. I think it'll be hard to split them up. That's just me. But hey, the schools that's left in the ACC of North Carolina and Clemson come in, and then they're followed by Florida State and Miami. The ACC would not be able to survive, okay? Because programs, Georgia Tech, North Carolina State, Louisville, Pittsburgh, Virginia, Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, oh man, they don't have the they don't have that prestige. They don't have the financial backing, and they don't bring in the revenue, okay, to come into a SEC, or a Big Ten, in my opinion. So, hey, they just have to, the ACC have to fare the best way they can. There'll be another Pac-12. That's it. That's it. And if the ACC fold, I feel like the Big 12 is going to be right behind them. Right behind them, even though they just had teams to join them from the Pac-12. But yeah, I think the Big 12 will fold right behind them. And then again, like I said, only two power conferences, the SEC and the Big Ten. So that's just my opinion. But y'all can let me know what y'all think about what's going on in college football. Not just the transfer portal, not just the NIL, but this conference realignment. Will it ever come to an end? Because it seems like conference realignment, it don't sleep. NIL don't sleep. Transfer portal don't sleep. And now it seems like conference realignment don't sleep. So it's a lot going on in college football today. Don't forget about all of this tampering stuff, so it's just so much going on in college football today. It ain't like 2013, 14, and 15 anymore. It ain't even like 17, 18, and 19 anymore. College football right now, with what all is going on, is really out of hand. To me, it's just too much going on. The focus is in a lot of areas, not just football games, the players, the coaches, the teams, it's just everywhere now. The focus is on everything. I mean, everything. So, hey, it is what it is, man. But y'all tell me what y'all think about this conference realignment, the possibility of North Carolina, Clemson leaving the ACC for the SEC. So, hey, but in my opinion, it is what it is. So y'all be blessed. And remember, KB don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide. And roll damn Tide.